Anakin Skywalker's transformation into Darth Vader is one of the most compelling narratives in the Star Wars saga, embodying the tragic fall of a hero into darkness. This transition from a promising Jedi Knight to Sith Lord Darth Vader is driven by a complex interplay of factors, including fear, loss, manipulation, and quest for power. Understanding Anakin's descent into the dark side involves examining both his personal vulnerabilities and the broader political and emotional context that influenced his choices. Moreover, he also probably suffers from borderline personality disorder. I'll explain that more in detail of what that is and how it applies to Anakin. Anakin, known throughout the Star Wars saga for his descent into Darth Vader, initially emerged as a figure of considerable heroism. His journey from a slave boy on Tatooine to one of the galaxy's most powerful Jedi Knights is marked by numerous acts of bravery, selflessness, and heroism. Here are several notable examples of Anakin's heroism before his fall to the dark side. The Battle of Naboo. As a young boy in The Phantom Menace, Anakin displays remarkable courage during the Battle of Naboo. With no formal training, he pilots a Naboo starfighter into battle against the Trade Federation's droid control ship. His intuitive understanding of flying and mechanics allows him to navigate the battlefield and ultimately destroy the control ship, disabling the droid army and securing a victory for the people of Naboo. This act of bravery not only showcases his natural talent and potential as a Jedi, but also marks his first significant contribution to the galaxy's peace. The Battle of Geonosis. In the Attack of the Clones, Anakin, along with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Padme Amidala, is captured on Geonosis. Despite facing overwhelming odds in the Geonosian arena, Anakin exhibits leadership and combat skills, fighting valiantly against beasts unleashed upon them. His actions contribute to the survival of his friends until the arrival of Jedi reinforcements. Later, he plays a pivotal role in the battle that ensues, marking the beginning of the Clone Wars. Rescuing Obi-Wan Kenobi. Anakin's loyalty and bravery are further highlighted through his numerous efforts to rescue and protect his mentor, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Notably in the Clone Wars animated series, Anakin undertakes dangerous missions to save Obi-Wan, including infiltrating enemy lines and confronting formidable foes. His commitment to his friends and allies, even in the face of personal risk, exemplifies his heroic nature. Heroics in the Clone Wars. Throughout the Clone Wars, Anakin emerges as a hero of the Republic, leading his troops to numerous victories across the galaxy. His strategic genius, coupled with a formidable prowess in the Force, makes him a key asset in the war effort against the Separatists. Anakin's actions during battles such as Christophsis, Teth, and Umbara, forgive me for the mispronunciations if I got those wrong, save countless lives and demonstrate his dedication to the Jedi Order's ideals and welfare of the galaxy. Protecting the innocent. Anakin's heroism is not limited to the battlefield. His compassion for others, particularly those suffering under oppression, drives him to undertake missions aimed at protecting the innocent. One such instance in his effort to rescue the kidnapped son of Jabba the Hutt, believing it would secure safe passage for Republic forces through Hutt-controlled space lanes, thereby saving lives. Mentorship of Ahsoka Tano. Anakin's role as a mentor to Ahsoka Tano, his Padawan, is another aspect of his heroism. Despite initial reluctance, he becomes a supportive and guiding presence in her life, teaching her valuable lessons in bravery, integrity, and compassion. His dedication to her training and development as a Jedi, even when it challenges his own beliefs and orders, reflects his commitment to doing what he feels is right. Before his fall to the dark side, Anakin's life was marked by acts of heroism that had a significant impact on the galaxy and those around him. His natural talent, coupled with a strong sense of justice and loyalty, drove him to undertake great risks for the greater good. These examples of heroism provide a poignant contrast to his later transformation into Darth Vader, highlighting the tragedy of his character's arc in the Star Wars saga. Anakin's transformation into Darth Vader stands as one of the most dramatic and tragic falls from grace in the Star Wars saga. His journey into villainy is marked by a series of actions that betray the Jedi Order, contribute to the rise of the Galactic Empire, and bring about suffering across the galaxy. Here are several key moments and actions that illustrate Anakin Skywalker's descent into villainy. The Massacre of the Tusken Raiders. One of the first significant signs of Anakin's capacity for darkness occurs in Attack of the Clones, when he slaughters an entire village of Tusken Raiders on Tatooine. This act of revenge, fueled by his anger and pain over his mother's death at their hands, showcases his willingness to give into his anger and take innocent lives, directly contravening the Jedi's teachings. Execution of Count Dooku. At the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, Anakin, under Palpatine's influence, executes an unarmed Count Dooku after defeating him in battle. This act of killing in cold blood is direct violation of Jedi code, which dictates that Jedi should not kill in anger or for revenge. This moment is pivotal as it represents Anakin's increasing susceptibility to Palpatine's manipulations and his growing comfort with making moral compromises. Betrayal of the Jedi Order. Anakin's ultimate act of villainy is his betrayal of the Jedi Order. Seduced by Palpatine's promise that the dark side of the Force holds power to save Padme from death, Anakin pledges himself to the Sith Lord's service, becoming Darth Vader. He then leads the attack on the Jedi Temple, slaughtering many Jedi, including younglings, marking a point of no return in his transformation. Participation in the Jedi Purge. Following Order 66, the directive issued by Palpatine to eliminate all Jedi as traitors to the Republic, Anakin plays a crucial role in hunting down and killing any surviving Jedi. His actions directly contribute to the near extinction of the Jedi Order, eradicating the guardians of peace and justice in the galaxy, and ensuring the rise of the Galactic Empire. The choking of Padme. In a tragic turn of events, Anakin's fears of losing Padme, which initially drove him to embrace the dark side, lead him to physically assault her when he mistakenly believes she has turned against him. This act of aggression against someone he claims to love symbolizes the complete erosion of Anakin's former self, as he succumbs to the paranoia and violence of the dark side. The duel on Mustafar with Obi-Wan Kenobi. The duel between Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi on Mustafar is not only a physical confrontation, but also a symbolic battle between Anakin's remaining ties to the light and his complete submission to the dark side. His willingness to engage in a deadly duel with his former mentor and friend underscores the depth of his fall from grace and his commitment to the path of the Sith. Anakin Skywalker's descent into villainy is a complex process driven by a combination of personal fears, manipulation by Palpatine, and a series of choices that increasingly align him with the dark side of the Force. His actions as a villain have profound implications for the galaxy, leading to widespread suffering and the establishment of the tyrannical Galactic Empire. Anakin's story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of fear, power, and how the path to the darkness can be paved with seemingly good intentions. But there are other reasons why he fell to the dark side. His fear of loss. At the core of Anakin's fall is his fear of loss, a fear that the Jedi Order's teachings inadequately address. This fear is the first profoundly manifested in his inability to prevent his mother's death. His subsequent premonitions of Padme, his secret wife, dying in childbirth become a catalyst for his actions leading to his turn to the dark side. The Jedi's prohibition against attachments is meant to prevent such fears, but for Anakin, who has already formed deep attachments, this teaching only exacerbates his sense of isolation and desperation. Manipulation by Palpatine. Chancellor Palpatine, secretly Darth Sidious, plays a pivotal role in Anakin's turn to the dark side. Palpatine expertly manipulates Anakin's fears, promising him power to save Padme from death, a power only achievable through the dark side, according to Palpatine. This manipulation is subtle and long-term, with Palpatine grooming Anakin from a young age, undermining his trust in the Jedi Order, and positioning himself as Anakin's only true ally. Palpatine's influence is instrumental in Anakin's decision-making, as he exploits Anakin's vulnerabilities for his own gain. The Jedi Order's failings. The Jedi Order's shortcomings contribute significantly to Anakin's disillusionment. Despite being the chosen one prophesized to bring balance to the Force, Anakin feels mistrusted and undervalued by the Jedi Council. The Council's decision to deny him the rank of Master, despite his appointment to the Council at Palpatine's behest, is a particular point of contention. Furthermore, the Jedi's rigid adherence to their code and their involvement in the Clone Wars as military leaders rather than peacekeepers alienate Anakin, who struggles with the contradictions between the Order's teachings and actions. Quest for power and control. Anakin's turn to the dark side is also fueled by his desire for power and control, traits that the Sith exploit. His exceptional abilities and the prophecy of the Chosen One create an expectation of greatness, leading Anakin to seek power to influence events and protect those he loves. The dark side offers him a path to achieve this power quickly, appealing to his impatience and fear of inadequacy. This quest for control ultimately leads him to embrace the Sith philosophy, where power is the ultimate goal and the ends justify the means. Personal and emotional turmoil. Anakin's personal struggles with anger, impulsiveness, and sense of entitlement exacerbate his vulnerability to the dark side. His emotional turmoil, combined with his extraordinary power, makes him susceptible to the dark side's promise of unrestrained freedom to express and act on his emotions. The Jedi's emphasis on a detachment and suppression of emotions leave Anakin feeling isolated and misunderstood, pushing him further away from the Order and towards the dark side. Now we'll move into the mental health aspect of Anakin's character. Now, diagnosing a fictional character with a psychological disorder is complex and speculative. However, analyzing Anakin Skywalker's behavior and emotional patterns through the lens of borderline personality disorder, or BPD, can provide an interesting perspective on his actions and motivations within the Star Wars saga. It's important to note, though, that such an analysis is purely theoretical and for the purpose of discussion rather than an attempt to make a definitive clinical diagnosis. BPD is characterized by a pervasive pattern of instability in interpersonal relationships, self-image, and affects, and marked impulsivity, according to the Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, the DSM-5. Here are some aspects of Anakin's character that might align with BPD criteria. Fear of abandonment. One of the hallmark symptoms of BPD is an intense fear of abandonment, whether real or imagined. Anakin displays this fear prominently. His separation from his mother, Shmi Skywalker, and his later premonitions of Padme's death drive many of his actions. He goes to great lengths, including turning to the dark side, in a desperate attempt to prevent these feared abandonments. Unstable relationships. People with BPD have intense, unstable relationships. Anakin's relationships are characterized by idealization and devaluation. He forms a deep attachment to Padme, his wife, and to his mentor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, but these relationships become sources of stress and conflict. His feelings towards Obi-Wan oscillate between reverence and resentment, particularly when he feels betrayed or unsupported. Identity disturbance. A persistent, unstable self-image or sense of self is another symptom of BPD. Anakin struggles with his identity throughout the series, torn between his roles as a Jedi, a husband, a friend, and later, a Sith Lord. His discomfort with the Jedi Order's expectations and his eventual embrace of Darth Vader's persona can be seen as manifestations of identity disturbance. Impulsivity. Impulsivity in at least two areas that are potentially self-damaging is criterion for BPD. Anakin's impulsivity is evident in several of his actions, including such as his decision to join Palpatine, Darth Sidious, and turn against the Jedi Order, and his frequent rushes into dangerous situations without fully considering the consequences. Emotional instability. People with BPD often experience intense episodic emotional instability. Anakin's emotions fluctuate dramatically from intense love to burning anger and hatred. His inability to control his emotions leads to aggressive outbursts and rash decisions, such as the massacre of the Tusken Raiders and his confrontation with Padme and Obi-Wan on Mustafar. Chronic feelings of emptiness. A chronic feeling of emptiness is another symptom associated with BPD. While less explicitly depicted, Anakin's actions suggest a struggle to find meaning and fulfillment, first within the Jedi Order, then as a Sith. His continuous search for a place where he feels he belongs reflects his inner emptiness. Inappropriate, intense anger. Frequent displays of inappropriate, intense anger or difficulty controlling anger are common in BPD. Anakin's temper is quick, and his anger often leads to aggressive acts. His duel with Obi-Wan is particularly fueled by intense rage, and his forced choke of Padme in anger underscores his inability to control his emotions. Paranoid thoughts or severe dissociative symptoms. Though not consistently displayed, Anakin exhibits moments of paranoia, especially as he becomes more involved with the dark side. His mistrust of the Jedi Council and his belief that others are conspiring against him or intend to take Padme away are indicative of paranoid thinking. While Anakin Skywalker's character exhibits behaviors and emotional patterns that could be interpreted through the lens of borderline personality disorder, it's crucial to remember that he is a fictional character whose actions serve narrative purposes. This analysis is speculative and intended to explore the complexity of Anakin's character, rather than to provide a clinical diagnosis. It highlights the depth of Star Wars storytelling and multifaceted nature of its characters, offering viewers a rich tapestry of emotional and psychological exploration. Anakin's transformation into Darth Vader is a result of a multifaceted interplay of personal, emotional, and external factors. His fear of loss, manipulation by Palpatine, the feelings of the Jedi Order, the deep-seated quest for power and control, and his emotional vulnerabilities converge to steer him down the path to the dark side. This tragic journey from hero to one of the most iconic villains in cinematic history underscores the complex nature of Anakin's character and the Star Wars saga exploration of themes of power, fear, and redemption. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe.